after this event, Aaron does not come prominently into view until the time of his death, near the close of the wilderness period. And because of the impatience, or maybe it's unbelief, of Moses and Aaron at Meribah, and that's the event in chapter 20 where Moses strikes the rock instead of speaking to it. Because of this, the brothers are prohibited from entering Canaan. They're prohibited. Moses dies, as we saw, on Mount Nebo. Aaron dies on Mount Hor. And so he too ends his life without crossing west, that is, across the Jordan, into the Promised Land. Now, he had married Elisheva, who was the daughter of Aminadab, sister of Nahshon, prince of the tribe of Judah, and he had 4 sons. And yet 2 of them, Nadab and Abihu, who are mentioned in Leviticus 10, die because they changed the recipe, possibly under the influence of alcohol, judging by the following passages. But in the beginning of Leviticus 10, we see that they break the Lord's commandment, and they pay for it with their life. Their brothers, Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's 3rd and 4th sons, carry on. And particularly Eleazar, as the oldest surviving son, he embodies the succession, carries on the priesthood and the ceremonial law. Well, as we saw, Aaron dies, Numbers chapter 20, verse 28, atop Mount Hor. Both of the brothers are prevented from going into the Promised Land. This man was outshone by his younger brother. Literally, if you think of Exodus 34, when Moses' face becomes glowing, but he was outshone by his younger brother. He is also a man who seems to have been extremely cautious, who stalled for time. Not a bad man, not an evil person, but not suited to lead at a very high level. His older children were presumptuous. And imagine the heartache he went through. Aaron loses not 1 child, but 2. In fact, the older 2 children. They were presumptuous. It makes us tempted to compare him with Eli and his sons Hophni and Phinehas. That's in the beginning of 1 Samuel. But I think their situation was much more drastic, much more dysfunctional. We also see in Aaron a man who became mildly jealous of his brother. But even then, it was without full conviction. It was, after all, Miriam who was the one punished. The things that we learn about God. First, sometimes a leader can be weak and ineffective and yet remain in his position for many years. God doesn't force us to change. He doesn't force leaders to change. Nor does he necessarily quickly remove an unspiritual leader. Second, our character and sins affect our children. 2 of Aaron's sons took great liberties in their approach to the priesthood. Was this perhaps a result of Aaron's tendency to back away from challenge? Was he not directive enough with them? We can't really say. But the other 2 were more spiritually solid. And third and finally, although influential, Aaron was more of an assistant. He was more of a spokesman who helped his brother Moses than he was the leader of Israel. In accomplishing his will, sometimes the Lord has us rely on others who have complementary gifts. Seldom does he push us to be a one-man show.